I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV. We are back after a 3-week hiatus, so thank you for tuning in and not giving up on us. We didn't give up on you, not even for a minute.
Never going to give you up.
We're never going to. We should rickroll this part right
Let's
now.
not.
Okay. So we are going to talk about the stuff that we liked the most this week. Also talk about stuff that we liked over the past few weeks since we weren't here. And yeah. So let's kick things off with Saga number 53. That is my pick of the week. And it dawned on me as I was reading this last night that Saga is the Game of Thrones of the comic book world. So everyone seems to go crazy whenever a new episode of Game of Thrones is on or comes out. Something earth-shattering happens, the character landscape is shaken up, those sorts of things. And Saga is just like that. Every issue is worth reading. There hasn't been an issue of Saga where like, that was a waste or whatever.
Right.
So if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, or Westworld seems to be inheriting the mantle of must-see HBO Sunday night TV, if you like Westworld or Game of Thrones, you're going to want to check out Saga. So in this issue, stuff happens. We're not going to talk about details. Saga's been published for 53 issues. We've talked about it so many times. And it's perfect for anybody, whether you read comics or not, whether you don't read any indie comics, whether you're just a superhero person, you'll like Saga. Everyone likes Saga. Gus likes Saga. We do your Goose. Sorry.
I pronounce it Goose because the umlauts. I think that makes it a...
Well,
but I'm not an expert in anything. Plus, it's space.
For those of us that don't know, what's an umlaut?
Umlaut, the little dots that appear, it modifies the vowel pronunciation in German and other languages.
Josh watches a lot of Jeopardy. Goose is awesome.
Hi, friendo.
Available at your local comic shop, or you can grab one from us at alteregocomics.biz if it's still available.
Custer Gordon's fisherman.
With his vinyl pants. His vinyl overalls. So yeah, Saga. If you're reading Saga, let us know in the comments and how much you love it.
My pick of the week this week is Multiple Man Number One, written by Matthew Rosenberg. Art by someone Andy McDonald. And this is about Jamie Madrox. He's dead for the 3rd time. Can you name the times he died?
No.
Legacy virus in the 90s. That cover where Havoc's holding his broken body. Beast fixed it. It's fine.
Beast fixed everything.
Yeah, it's his jam.
You know who's in this issue? Beast.
Lots of X-Men,
So when's the second
Multiple
time?
Man. Second time was when he died during David's run, when they had to go take his soul out of hell and stuff. They Keep Killing Madrox, I believe was the title of the graphic novel. And then most recently he died during the Cloud of the Inhumans Terrigen Mists, which also killed Cyclops. And a lot of people talked about that. They didn't even mention that Madrox died in there. I mean, they mentioned
they did. It was
right, but it wasn't like
no one cared.
No one cared. There wasn't a Death of Madrox miniseries.
None of you may care about this. Madrox is a D-level character, but has a loyal following. He has a T-shirt.
He does.
And you have how many?
I have several of them. I have a bunch of them in case when they wear out, I'm ready for the next one, or in case I learn to duplicate and then I have the shirts ready. So this picks up. It is a little tonally different from Peter David's run, which is of course the iconic version of Jamie Madrox, but it's a lot of fun. Rosenberg has a great track record for writing books that are relatable and funny, but also has a great love and respect for the Marvel history. His work on Punisher, War Machine, really, he wrote a book where Punisher has the War Machine armor. That tells you everything you need to know about his kind of the Marvel universe, and that's definitely the same tone we get here in Multiple Man. It features time travel, which is a great X-Men standby, and just a laundry list of X-Men and also versions of other Marvel characters or versions of X-Men from the future or from alternate realities that are just a ton of fun. So it's a mini-series. It's not a huge risk. If you've been enjoying the New Mutants series that was also written by Rosenberg, and a lot of that cast is also in here, check it out. It's super fun.
Yeah,
it was a good time.
If you're an X-Men fan and you're craving something different.
No, Kraven's not an X-Men.
Kraven is in Old Man Logan this week.
He is in Old Man Logan this week, which is the next book. All right, I'll give it to you.
There you go.
Lawyered.
Next up for me, we'll stay in the X universe, but with an Avenger, Old Man Hawkeye.
Featuring Madrox.
Featuring Venom Vadrox. That sounds like a personal hygiene product.
Please don't ever say that again.
Old Man Hawkeye number 6. This is number 6 of 12, so we're at the halfway point of this very good series, which is a prequel to Mark Millar's Old Man Logan. And we are with Hawkeye as he's starting to go blind. Now, the Marvel Universe, the landscape has been completely changed due to the villains uniting and doing away with all of the heroes. And we find out how some of that happens in Old Man Logan, but we're kind of teased. The next issue is supposed to explain what happened to the heroes. So, Multiple Man, his dupes, some dupes are there, and they're kind of like inbred stupid dupes, like the Hulk family, or like the Banner family, and they are possessed by the Venom symbiote, so that's fun. Clint Barton has gone to one of his most trusted allies, who really wants nothing to do with him, Kate Bishop, a.k.a. Hawkeye.
Most of Clint Barton's most trusted allies don't want anything to do with him.
Right. And there is a cameo at the end of the issue by another Marvel mainstay that may be working for the wrong side. So this has been great from the beginning. This is going to read very, very well.
I'm excited.
As a collected edition. They are publishing it first as 2 single 6-issue volumes.
I'm sure we'll see an epic.
We'll see an epic collection or an oversized collection or whatever, but this is so good. It's steeped in Marvel lore, but still accessible to people, I think, that are only familiar with Hawkeye from the movies. So I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, and one of the coolest things not coolest, but one of the moments that I was flipping through the first issue of the original Old Man Logan, it might not even be the first issue, it might have been the second issue, the old Miller McNiven run, the Venom Saurus,
yes.
And we see something about that in here.
The T-Rex is here.
Yes.
And just in time for Jurassic World.
Right?
Fallen Kingdom.
Dumb name. Sentry number 1 from Marvel Comics. The Sentry is
stupid.
Superman, but better because he has an actual interesting weakness. He's crazy and contains darkness within himself, and he's so crazy. It's like Moon Knight if he had the power of a god, basically. Which is why we got Jeff Lemire to write it, because Lemire, of course, wrote the most recent, the previous Moon Knight series, not the current Moon Knight series.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not a Sentry fan. Mark's not a Sentry fan, but this book is very cool. I think Lemire's love of Silver Age style comics is definitely on display here. So if you like kind of more classic era style stories told in a modern manner, it's really good. There's a lot of flaws, not flaws in the book, but the characters are flawed and the world is complicated. It's not moral, black and white, and yeah, it was as good of a Sentry book as I can ever expect to read. So
yeah, if you're a fan of Lemire's Black Hammer stuff over at Dark Horse or his run on Moon Knight, you'll want to check out The Sentry. All right, we're going to go back in time a little bit here to last week when Tony Stark Iron Man #1 came out. This is Dan Slott making his debut as the writer of Iron Man with artwork by Valerio Schiti. We did get clarification on how to pronounce his name after swearing every time that we said his name. We may go back to saying it that way. Who knows? So this is how do I want to say this? So there's a new character that we're introduced to in this issue that has a history with Tony, that Tony actually recruits to come work at Stark Unlimited, and we're experiencing his introduction to Tony Stark as well as his introduction to Stark Unlimited through this character. So if you haven't read Iron Man in a while, or if you've never read an Iron Man comic, this is accessible to you. Or if you're familiar with the character, if you've been a fan of Iron Man for a long time, this will also be enjoyable. We get lots of different armors in here. I think Dan Slott is going crazy with the Cheese Whiz, crazy with the armors, and giving Mr. Schiti a lot of different things to draw. So we get a miniature Iron Man. We get Fin Fang Foom is in here, so we get a mech version of Iron Man, so a giant robot. There's another incarnation of his traditional armor in here as well. And some characters from Iron Man stories of old, and old I mean the 1970s and 80s. So Bethany Cabe shows up. She works for Stark Unlimited, and this was great. It's a good first issue. You know, Slott introduced an amazing cast of characters and a new world for Peter Parker over an Amazing Spider-Man, and I have high hopes and no reason to doubt that he's going to do the same thing over here with Iron Man. And he launches the Fantastic Four in August, I think. What month is this? Yes, it's August.
In the current catalog, so yes.
So yeah, I have faith in you, Dan Slott. Better not let me down.
It's all right. He's earned a pass. It's cool. Next up for me, another older one, By Night Number One from the Boombox imprint over at Boom. This is written by John Allison, who's written Giant Days and Scary Go Round and Bad Machinery, and I just love the crap out of everything he writes. Most of what he writes is sort of slice of life, kids getting into adventures, although there's some supernatural elements occasionally. And this is about a town in the decline. Their big factory is closed down. The person who owned much of the town and who ran the factory has disappeared, almost like Willy Wonka. And a girl reconnects with a friend from high school who's maybe a bit of a bad influence, and they get into hijinks, and then they discover something really weird about maybe where that guy went. Really well written, really well drawn characters, strong interactions, just a great read, top to bottom. I'm very excited about where it's going. It doesn't look like a book that your average comic fan, the audience for Tony Stark Iron Man and the audience for By Night based on cover art does not seem like it's the same, but I think it probably is. I think if you like comics, you should check it out because it's a great read.
Next up for me, we're going to go back again a couple more weeks to Plastic Man #1. This is a 6-issue miniseries that spins out of the Dark Knight's Metal storyline, written by the amazing Gail Simone, artwork by Adriana Mello, and this far surpassed my low expectations. That sounds horrible, but I don't care about Plastic Man. Plastic Man to me is it's similar to the Sentry, but I dislike the Sentry more than I like Plastic Man. So Plastic Man's alter ego, Eel O'Brien, is a low-level thug. He works for the mob. He's a driver. He does, he gets coffee, things like that. And apparently he's still like in that. I don't. Whenever I see Plastic Man, it's as Plastic Man. Like
right.
if he's hanging out with the Justice League, he's Plastic Man. You never see him in his civilian identity. But in this, it's like he's still, hanging out with the mob, running around with the mob, which is kind of weird. But this has some great humor in it. There's some great humor in the first few pages, and it's like a running joke that comes back. But it's also it's violent, it's dark, it's a very solid story, and this turned out to be my favorite thing that I read the week that it came out. So Plastic Man #1 by Gail Simone, 6-issue miniseries. You should totally check it out if you like Gail Simone. If you like comics that are awesome, you won't be disappointed.
Next up, Weatherman #1 from Image Comics, written by Jody LaHoop. LaHoop? What do you got?
I'll let you do it.
Okay, cool. And drawn by Nathan Fox. This is we're going to say near future. Things have gone badly, horrible things have happened, and everyone's kind of scarred by, they treat it like a 9/11 type thing, but bad things have happened. And our viewpoint character is a kind of idiot weatherman who's getting by on charm and luck and chance. Actually, I didn't think about it until right now, but he kind of reminds me a lot of the way Barton is in Hawkeye. How he's like he doesn't have his life together, and he's got a dog, and those are all the only connections. He likes to eat food. People like food, right? That's the thing? No, but really good. I have a hard time talking about books like this without spoiling the plot.
Right.
But it's really good, really great art. Very offbeat. I think if you like Chew, you would probably enjoy it.
If you liked Total Recall, the Schwarzenegger version.
Yeah, I didn't see the remake.
I didn't either.
No one did apparently. But just really great. I think I compared it in the other video to L.A. Story, the Steve Martin oeuvre classic.
L.A. Story meets Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, yeah. That was my post-apocalyptic go-to future that wasn't really dystopia, I guess.
There is no Hunger Games in this book.
There are no. We don't know what the bad thing.
Some people are hungry, I think.
Bad things have happened. It's somebody's fault.
He kind of reminds me of of Chris Pratt's character in the Lego Movie.
Okay.
He's like happy all the time, and he's oblivious to what's going on.
Right.
But yeah, there's something else happening.
But yeah,
it was good.
Weatherman, really good.
Yeah. Almost finally, Magic Order #1 came out while I was away. This is written by Mark Miller, artwork by Olivier Coipel. This is the first of the Netflix Miller World titles, and it is awesome. So Mark Miller just writes great comics. He does. Mm-hmm. Let's just admit it. You may not.
No one's fighting you on this.
You may not like the content necessarily, but he writes great comics. And in this one, I think you will like the content. This is basically like grown-up Harry Potter.
So it doesn't have a promiscuous Aunt May?
It does not.
Okay.
That I'm aware of. I think there are some ants in here. So there are magical families that have kind of been manipulating things behind the scenes. In our world, this takes place in the real world, presumably, in present day, and so it's this extended family of magicians, and I would kind of compare it to the Malfoys and the Potters and the Snapes and the Blacks, all from Hogwarts and Harry Potter. So that's the best parallel that I can give. But someone is now murdering members of these families, and so they have come together to attend the funeral of the most recent victim, or it might be the first victim, I don't remember. And some people are likable, like the Potters, and some people are not likable, like the Malfoys.
Well, and it's not that clear. I mean,
no, and there are certain members within the family.
Right, the families they're real families. They have conflicts and different problems and stuff, and some of them have been trying to walk away from the magic life. And yeah, it's real well drawn.
Coipel's artwork is outstanding. The ending is great. The ending of this first issue is a great series of scenes, or a great scene. So highly recommend it. Highly recommend the Magic Order for anybody that likes good comics again, but especially if you're a fan of Harry Potter and magic and that sort of thing.
Coming off that, there's a new line from Funko, the 5-star line. First wave is all Harry Potter. A little smaller than a pop, a little more detail. They're actually really pretty cool. I like them. This one comes with Fox. He's a Phoenix.
Yeah, they each come with a couple accessories. Josh needs the Fox.
I do. I really do. What does it say?
Ring ding 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 ding. I don't even remember. Also out are these all this week? This was a couple weeks ago. This is this week.
These are both this week.
Okay, well, let's talk about Donny Cates' awesome Marvel work. He's writing 27 titles at Marvel, but in between what do they call it? The Fresh Start, which is where we're getting all these new number ones. Donny Cates kind of stepped into a couple of existing series, Doctor Strange and Thanos, and wrote some amazing stuff. I mean, people were raving. I only read the first issue of Doctor Strange, so one of the copies of the trades is for me. So Josh raved about every issue of Doctor Strange, about the ghost dog that he hangs out with, and the whole kit and caboodle of it. Thanos also was highly praised. We get the introduction of Cosmic Ghost Rider in this trade paperback, and Cosmic Ghost Rider number 1 comes out next week.
Yep.
So if you're enjoying Donny Cates' work on Venom, or his creator-owned work like God Country or Baby Teeth, or he's doing all kinds of great stuff, you'll want to check out the Thanos Wins trade paperback and Doctor Strange God of Magic.
Then over on the DC side this week, we've got Super Sons of Tomorrow. This is the penultimate volume, I believe, of the first Super Sons series. Yes, there should be one more volume left. Written by Pete Tomasi, art by Patrick Gleason, kind of co-written by Gleason, I guess.
Gleason and Tomasi are co-writers.
Right, and then art by Jimenez.
Jorge, something or other.
A bunch of people.
There you go. Yep.
But this is the story of a future version of Tim Drake, who we've previously seen in Detective Comics. Or am I doing that backwards? Yeah, he's in Detective first and then here.
And then he went back to Detective, I think.
Coming back to try and kill Jonathan Kent, and we see future versions of other Teen Titans or other young DC heroes. Great story, great storytelling. Every issue of Super Sons that Tomasi wrote was amazing, but that arc is especially cool if you like kind of time travel, future, alternate history stories.
Yeah. So we just crammed about 3 weeks worth of content into this single video. Again, we apologize for going AWOL and being absent. We also have a stuffed Niffler, which wants to say hi. He doesn't.
I don't remember what sounds.
He just steals things. Yeah, that's what he sounds like. But our intention is to be back with you every week. Might be a little tricky next week because we have the wedding of Batman and Catwoman. The issue comes out. Batman number 50 comes out on July 4th. But we're also having a mock wedding here, where Josh will be presiding over the ceremony between two of our local cosplayers and our volunteer charity group, Heroes for Hope, who will tie the knot. It's going to be a blast. But we also want to remind you and I guess re-invite you over to join the Comics Are Awesome private Facebook group. It's been kind of stale for a little while, but we have some big plans in the works for Comics Are Awesome. So if you haven't joined yet, all you got to do is go over, answer a couple of quick questions, and you'll be in. So we'll have a link in the show notes for you to check out Comics Are Awesome. We hope that you do. It's definitely for if you think comics are awesome, if you enjoy watching the videos, you'll enjoy being part of that group. As always, if you liked this week's video, please like the video. that would be a help. And comment and share so that we can get this in front of more people to read comics that are outstanding. That's the new name. Comics are outstanding. Comics are awesome. Comics are just for everybody, and they're awesome. You know it. We know it. The American people know it. Thank you, and God bless America. See you next time.